Tricia Danielsen, Partner-in-Chief, Capital Human Officer at Client Psyence, and she'll be sharing a process to greatly increase your networking and relationship building skills. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for having me here. This is really loud. I'm not used to having a mic because I have a really loud voice. So if I start blowing you out from a sound standpoint, somebody tell me to quiet down. So I'm used to speaking really loud so the back of the room can hear me without a mic. So let me go ahead and grab this so I can get started. So thank you so much for having me. I'll tell you a little bit about what we'll go through today and set a little bit of expectations. So it's interactive, so first expectation. So if you think you're just going to listen, step back a minute because you're going to interact and be involved as well. So I won't talk a whole lot about me today, but I will tell you a little bit about how this came about so you can understand that. But I am more than happy afterwards or as a follow-up if you don't have time today to answer questions or give you more information down the road or answer more questions later as you process and think about things later on. So we'll go through the model that we'll talk about today. You'll have some time to process and practice and engage with others in the room today. You won't get time to process all the way through because part of it is over time as you build relationships with people, and you only have so much time today. So know that at the end you'll have some information to take away and apply after you leave today as well. So as I said, you might have some questions after you leave today as well. So the other thing is I get really passionate as I start talking. So if I start talking really fast, you got to slow me down because as I get excited and passionate, I know that I start talking fast. So please, I assign you to tell me if I start talking really fast as I get excited and passionate. I try to control myself in that way. But so let me get started and get you kicked off and get you some information. So networking relationship for mutual benefit. The key words there are really mutual benefit. It's not all about just networking, meeting people, coming in here, meeting 20 people today and walking away. So we'll talk about that both from the networking and the relationship building standpoint and the mutual benefit standpoint and what that means and what that looks like. So let's just jump in and do that. So for today's agenda, what is that? Networking, we're going to define that a little bit, what it is and isn't. Relationship building, we'll define that a little bit, what it is and what it is not as well. And then we'll talk about a model, the MBR model, what that is, what that means, what some of those tools are, and how you can use those as it applies to you and what your needs might be. And you can kind of pick and choose the pieces that work best for you. But really what today is really about is you. It's all about what applies to you, what things are relevant to you, and the pieces and parts that you can take away, parts that you are already good at, fantastic. Parts that are like, oh, I can use that, awesome. If you take even one or two tidbits and ahas, then that's fantastic. That's about as much as you can really do something with and apply. You can't walk away with 20 tools and have time to go do something different. It's not you walk away and do something completely different than you did when you walked in here today. So today's session is really just all about you and giving you one or two tools to do something differently than you came in here with today. Sound good? Awesome. So we're all busy. We're all going somewhere, got somewhere to be, got something to do, headed off somewhere, got shopping to do, something going on. So really, it's the networking and relationship. What's in it for me, right? Why should I do it? Why should I meet more people? Why should I build more relationships? What's in it for me? Why should I go do more of it? So let me ask you, just anyone in the room, tell me a time that you've helped someone else out or someone's helped you. It can be with anything that you've helped someone else out, introduced them to someone, found a resource that somebody else needed, helped someone else as a team member, or they've helped you. Anyone in the room? Yeah?
I just helped someone, a co-worker at a church committee, set up a community talk.
All right, awesome. So networking relationships, you helped a coworker set up a community talk. So that's a benefit and a value by helping them out. Great, thank you. Fantastic. So if you didn't hear marketing team helping each other out with workload, that absolutely is relationship building. And if you have a good relationship with your colleagues and team members, that makes work go so much better, and you can help each other out because we all need help sometimes, and there are times we have capacity to help each other out. And certainly I know for myself, and I think I can speak for pretty much everyone else, maybe there's a few exceptions out there, most of us really like having a good work environment and good culture and a good team to be a part of that we know that we can go in and feel like we're valued and needed to help others out when they need help, and know that we can get help from our colleagues when they need help as well. So, great, thanks. And I didn't mention, but I think you guys all know you have handouts on your table. So all your slides are there in your handouts, and you can feel free to take notes or not. Depends on if you're a note taker or whatever you want to do. And I did bring pens in case anybody needed them. Does anyone need a pen? Okay, there's some up here if anyone needs them. Okay, so values and benefits. And again, you mentioned several of them, but just to kind of categorize some of those. So there's values to the other person, especially if you're helping somebody out. So helping find a speaker, helping your coworker, helping a committee member do something. So there's value to that other person that you've helped out. We'll talk about the value to others and helping other people first. There's value to yourself. There's a great feeling of wealth in helping others. I know I feel great when I can help others. I was talking a little bit earlier and how this all got started, and I'll mention that a little bit, but I truly was an introvert. I grew up an extreme introvert. And this program came about, I was at an organization, and person after person after person, I was heading up a global corporate university, and they were telling me, you need to create a networking session. You need to create X. You're such an extrovert. And I just laughed. I'm like, no, really, I'm not. I grew up an extreme introvert. Ask my mom. She's like, you would not get out from behind the apron strings. I have 2 older sisters and a brother. I was either with my oldest sister or my mom or one aunt and cousin that lived a block and a half from us. We have a big extended family. I wouldn't even go with my other cousins or my other aunts or my brother. It was my oldest sister, my mom, or my one aunt and cousin. Extreme introvert growing up. Until I figured out that by doing things that added value, I felt like I could make a difference, and that became the core of who I was. So my extreme extrovert that people see, the reason I'm here today is because I hope to add value to you. I hope you walk away with at least one item that you can say, wow, I can take this one piece, even just one thing that could make a difference to you when you're networking, building relationships. To me, that adds value. When I finally figured out what I wanted to do in life, I figured out it didn't matter what job, it didn't matter what company, it didn't matter what title. If I was doing something that added value, making a difference to the person, to the team, to the organization, I was doing the thing I was meant to do. I didn't care what company I worked for, I didn't care what title I had. That's what mattered to me. So that's what makes me seem like a real extrovert. I can go to conferences of 10,000 people, and people think I know everyone at the conference. I don't, but if I can help somebody, I do. So that's what people think I know everybody, because it's like, oh, what do you need? Yep, I know someone that can help you with that, because I want to help people. So helping yourself, adding value, feeling valuable is part of that. The team, values to your team. We had that example earlier. Values to your organization. Knowing resources that you can reach out to, knowing the network, whether it's people, whether it's resources, whether it's, hey, I know where this form is, hey, I know somebody that's an expert at that, hey, I know someone at another company that might have a resource we can use, is value to your organization. And to the community as well, whether it's to committees that you're on, whether it's to professional groups that you're involved in. Any others that you can think of? That's value and benefit. There's lots of them. Anything else that anyone wants to throw out there? Culture, absolutely. Huge piece. We deal with culture all the time. Our company, it's what we do, and our Client Psyence, that's what we do, is work with other companies, and culture is a huge, huge piece. Absolutely, it plays in culture. Yeah?
Future people that come in, if you're changing something or making something better, it affects future employees or coworkers or...
Absolutely, the future employees, the future of the company, in all sorts of aspects and ways there's value to that. So, great. So a little bit about networking versus relationship building and the difference between the two. So what is networking? So by definition, networking helps to cultivate and help one professionally by definition if you look it up. Because typically when people think about networking, they think about it from a professional standpoint. It can be professionally, personally, any aspect of it that you want to apply it to. And typically, again, by definition, it's to form business connections. I always tell people that look to do networking when they need a job. That's not the best time to start networking when you need a job. However, if you need a job and you haven't started networking, there's no time like the present, right? But what I would advise people, and have many, many times, because I get reached out to often when people are looking for a job, is that's great, start networking now, but when you find that job, don't stop networking. And don't forget the people that have helped you along the way, even if that's not the person that helped you find the job or connected you to someone. They reached out, they helped you, they connected you to someone, even if it's not the person that, or the company you got the job at. They took their time, their effort. We'll talk about the mutual benefit again, that reach back out to them, try to give back to them in some way. And it's not a one-for-one, it's not a tick mark, but still, it's a mutual benefit. Remember those people along the way, pay it forward to other people, and also remember those along the way. I can tell you I've helped people looking for a job. I've given hours of time to completely help them do their resume just from the kindness of my heart, because I wanted to help them, and they don't even tell me when they get a job. It might not have been one I connected them to. It might not have been based on the resume. That's okay. I don't want any credit. I don't want any thank you. I don't want any gifts. Just let me know you got a job, because I want to be excited for you. And they don't even let me know they got a job. So think of those things along the way. So what is networking not? Networking is not a collection of business cards. It's not how many business card stacks you get, right? Go to an event, I can go around today, hi, nice to meet you, you got a business card? Hi, nice to meet you. That's not what networking is, and there are still many people that do that. And I'm not saying don't get a business card, right? I have the worst short-term memory in the world, I will guarantee you, right? It is an actual physical state. I don't have a good short-term memory. I'm gonna get a business card, because that's how I can remember, and I jot notes on the business card. But it is not a collection of business cards. That's not what it's about. It's not a sales pitch for yourself either. Networking is not, here's what I do, here's what I sell. It doesn't mean don't talk about that. It doesn't mean don't talk about what your needs are, but you don't go in and do a hard sales pitch. That's not what networking is either, especially if you're at a networking event. People don't want you to come out and say, yep, I sell this. Here, do you want one of these? You want to buy one of these? And it's not a contest of number of friends. I have 500 Facebook friends, and I have 1,000 LinkedIn friends, and it's not about the number either. It's great if you have a vast network, but the number is not in itself what the networking is about, right? And again, there are just, unfortunately, a lot of times that's what people are so focused on is those numbers. So just quickly, because we'll get into this more as we get into the exercises and the interactive part on it, is not all contacts become relationships. I'm meeting all of you today. Not all of us will form a relationship in some way, shape, or form. If we do, great. If there's a need to, great. If I can help you in some way, shape, or form today, tomorrow, next week, a month from now, a year from now, fantastic. But I may never see, meet, or talk to you again. If you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, fantastic. There's nothing wrong with that. And if we don't take the relationship further than that, but we're connected in case there's a need or an opportunity down the road, fantastic. That's great. But there's no need to say we must connect in a week, or we must talk in a month, or we must meet for coffee next month, right? A network contact may fulfill a short-term need, right? So I'm here speaking. This has been a year in the making, a year plus in the making, but after this, there may be no more need for us to have a relationship, right? That's okay. There's no need to say we have to stay in contact just because we've met and had some need at some point in time. And typically, a networking interaction comes first, whether that's an introduction via email or LinkedIn, or you met somewhere at an event. The interaction starts before the networking relationship starts to build. And not all contacts have the same values or interests. Again, those relationships build to different events. Or you go to a networking event or a meeting, not everybody has the same value. Don't feel like you have to get 50 cards or meet 15 people or 50 people. Look at what you're going to accomplish, what you're looking to accomplish while you're at the meeting or the event. Not everyone has the same value to you that you're spending your time and energy at, right? And networking can be an event. You can go to an event, you can enjoy it, you can meet one or two people, and that's a good thing. A lot of people have taken quite a while to realize that if you meet one person of value to you at an event that you've gone to, that's a good thing. That's way better than collecting 20 business cards, right? So talking a few minutes about relationship building, and then we'll jump into some activities. Relationship building, again, by definition, is a mutual affiliation or connection, and it's two people eliciting responses amongst each other. And the thing I will say here is, if you want a different response, if you're not getting the responses you want, if you're not getting the results you want, then you need to change what your interaction is. It's two ways, it's not just one. So if you're not getting the results, then you need to change what you're doing to put into it. And we'll talk about that with the activity that we'll do. So what is relationship building not? It's not a one-time event. So it's not just a check mark, we've built a relationship, we're all done. Again, that could be a network and you're done, but if you're gonna build a relationship, it takes time, it takes energy. And relationship building is not necessarily your best friend. I've had some great relationships with people from a business perspective. They aren't necessarily my best friend. They aren't people that I want to go hang out with on a Friday night, but they're a good relationship that we've built for whatever that mutual purpose is, for whichever of us have the need or the both of us have the need. And it's not something that self-sustains. It doesn't just happen on its own. It takes time, it takes energy, it takes focus, it takes emailing, it takes meeting for coffee, it takes thinking about it and taking a focused effort on sending an email 6 months later saying, okay, now we're scheduling next year's sessions. Are you available? Or sending an email saying, hey, I know you were interested in X. I thought of you when I saw this article. All those types of things that we're going to talk about here. But it takes time, it takes energy, and it takes top of mind when you're trying to build those relationships. They are built over time. Like I said, they need care and feeding, and they can vary in length. I have a great example of a business colleague who is now a very good friend of mine, but I've known this colleague and friend now for, oh my gosh, I don't know, at least 10 years, but we were both part of the same professional organization. He was in Lincoln, I was in Omaha. Kayla probably knows, I was gonna say it won't take long for her to figure out who I'm talking about, but he was in Lincoln, I was in Omaha. I knew him really through the two organizations, but usually when I saw him, it was in Washington, D.C. at the same international event. We knew each other through the same organization, friends, but really didn't do a whole lot together. Once in a while, the Lincoln and Omaha chapters would do something together. So knew each other not real well for a few years. Eventually, he moved to Omaha. We did a few more things together. He joined the Omaha chapter, became a little bit closer, business colleagues. Eventually, he moved to the same company I was at. We worked really closely together to the fact that we were on two different teams but doing the same types of things. We probably went to lunch 2 or 3 times together each week. Saw each other constantly for that professional organization. He became the president of it. I was a past president. While he was president, he decided we were going to do a regional conference, which the two of us headed up. Again, probably saw each other 3 or 4 times a week doing that, and then that kind of petered off and we'd see each other once or twice a week. Now he's done being past president. Over the summer, he rides bikes. I see him once every 2 months. In the wintertime, I'll start seeing him once every couple weeks again, right? So it can vary in length. You can see someone all the time. There can be a business need or not, or you can be great friends and see each other every Friday or Saturday. It doesn't have to stay the same over the weeks, months, and years. It's whatever that need is. So that can vary in intensity. It should focus on your goals. And again, if it's a personal relationship that turns into whatever you want to do on a Saturday, that's fine as well. You can build those personal relationships if that's what you desire. But from a business standpoint, there should also be a mutual benefit. It shouldn't be all one-sided. Especially if you're going to an event like this, right? And you guys probably see each other month over month. Not that every person is the same people that are here every month. But I know a lot of networking events that people go to, especially some that I see in Omaha that are specifically all about referrals, those referral groups that have requirements of doing one-on-ones. So they have requirements on how many one-on-ones you do each week, month. I don't know. I don't belong to those because I don't have capacity, honestly. I can't live up to those commitments, so I don't belong to those types of groups. I don't have capacity. But it's because those one-on-ones, it's like, okay, can you meet for coffee tomorrow at 9? And people feel that they need to go meet for the coffees. And I had a colleague that said, that's all I do is meet for one-on-ones. And so we had to have the discussion of, it's okay to turn down a one-on-one. And if you don't think that there's a reason to meet, if you don't think that you can be of value to them or they can be of value to you, you are doing them a disservice to meet for a one-on-one. If you really don't know, it's fine to meet and explore, but I cannot tell you how many financial services, People want to meet with me, either they are insurance agents or they are financial planners. It's great, I'd like to know what they do and what arena they're in, but a business card and a less than 5-minute conversation gives me enough information for me to know that in case I want to refer anyone their way. A one-on-one coffee for an hour is more than what I have capacity for. I don't need their service, and I have about 50 of each of those already in my Rolodex to refer to, and some that I truly know well that I do refer to. So I am doing them a disservice to take an hour of their time, because I'm probably not going to refer anyone their way, and I don't need their service. And realistically, they probably aren't going to refer anyone my way, because honestly, the type of business services we do, unless they truly are passionate about getting to know what we do, they're not going to refer anyone to me either. So though it's okay to turn down a one-on-one and to do it very honestly and transparently and tell them that. Say, thank you so much for the offer. I'm not sure I'm going to add any value, and I'm really afraid I'm going to take away from your time where you could be spending it with someone that would be more beneficial to you. And be honest and transparent about it versus skating around it and saying no. But you're absolutely right in making sure both people get a voice in that too, and they're mutually beneficial. So thank you so much. Okay, the model, MBR. So what is MBR? It's not rocket science. It's meet, build, retain. MBR, meet, build, retain. It does not have to be 20 steps and go 1 through 20 in order. It's think about these things when you are meeting people, when you are building relationships, and when you are retaining relationships, and what this looks like. And it's not, if you skip a step, you fail. It's here's some helpful hints when you're doing these. So I'm going to go over the what's and the how's, and you have them in your sheet, and then you are going to pair up with a partner, and you are going to practice role-playing and what you need and what they need, because it's hard to get the right language when you meet someone for the first time. Not only to ask what they need, but to articulate what you need in a way that they can understand it. So the meets. You meet someone for the first time. What is it? Meaningful introductions. Not just, hi, here's who I am, and here's where I work, and here's what my title is. That oftentimes does not tell people a whole heck of a lot. Financial services, insurance planning. You need to tell them what you do. And oftentimes your title is not enough. You need to tell them what you do and how you do it and what types of people you service, what types of customers you're looking for, those types of things, or what you're looking for. Maybe it's not even customer. Maybe you're looking for resources. A lot of times I've worked with project managers where we talk about, I'm looking for new resources for this. I'm looking for new types of templates for this. It doesn't have to be a new customer, right? Give before you get. My just absolute golden rule is always look at how can I help this other person. Again, that's kind of my story of how I got into where I'm at, not only in presenting this, but in my career and my life is helping others. Give before you get. How can I help them? What can I do for them? Give before you get. So, but keep your goals in mind too. If you give, and don't ever articulate what you need, you will be spending so much time giving, you will fail at what you need, and you won't have anything left to give, and you won't be able to be successful enough. And if you don't fill your cup, then you can't give. And that's whether it's emotionally, physically, financially, whatever the case may be. And then identify those opportunities to network, right? They don't just find you, sometimes they do, but you have to go find them, and you have to find the ones of value. They can be professional organizations, they can be happy hours, they can be wine events, they can be chamber events, they can be the most unusual events, they can be standing in line at the grocery store. I've gotten accused a lot of them. My kids are like, do you know everybody in town? They swear that I do, and I really don't. But you need to identify the opportunities to network and meet people. And again, just because you meet somebody does not mean that you have to go do coffee. It does not mean you have to email them once a week or have lunch once a month. But identify the opportunities to network based on what you're looking for and what your needs are and where you might find those people. In person, online, in a webinar, there's lots of places. Think outside the box. And then create an action plan for deliberate results. You walk away from this event today, what's your action plan? You'll be working on one here, but what's your action plan when you meet someone as well? Are you going to email them afterwards? Are you going to send them a thank you note? Are you going to have top of mind what their needs are? And look for something you might send them. I always think about what somebody needs and, oh, I saw this article, oh, I thought of you, oh, I try to send them something. So I'm always trying to keep top of mind the people I met and what their needs are and who I can connect them to and what they need. So the how are those things. provide insight based on what they need, what they're looking for, who might be able to help them, who I can connect them with, and I try to make very meaningful introductions to others. If I introduce them to someone, I try to tell them why they're mutually beneficial to each other. I try to do the email introduction. If it's LinkedIn, it doesn't matter, email, here's this person and why I think it might be beneficial for you to know them. Here's this person, why it might be beneficial to you to know them. And I try to be very transparent, even if it's a job opportunity and I've never worked with the person. I don't endorse them as if I've worked with them. I say, hey, here's who I know, how I know them, here's what I think, and here's strengths I've seen based on how I know them. I think you should meet to see if maybe they're a right fit. You need to talk to them. I don't say, hey, they're great, they'll be a perfect fit for your company, because I don't know that. So I'm very transparent but honest and make the introduction, and I get out of the way and don't try to own it after that, because I don't have time. And then how can I help you? You meet someone, maybe they don't articulate what they need. How can I help you? And most of the time, they're not going to have an answer unless they are really salesy. That's okay. You've offered to help. They know you want to help and you're willing to help. And if they have a need later, they know you're willing to help. And they'll come back and they'll say, hey, you know what? I need this. Or would you happen to know? So always just say, how can I help? If you don't have a way to help, if they haven't asked for help, just say, how can I help you? If there's anything you need in the future, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to help if I can. And again, make sure you define your goals up front. Know what you need. When you came in here today or last month or 2 months ago or when you come in here next month, do you know what you're looking for to get from your networking? And define your goals. What are you looking for to get? And then think outside the box and create those opportunities. Again, you got to define them. You got to open those doors or open the windows or crawl through the back doors, whatever it takes to find the opportunities for yourself. And then identify specific actions to fit the situations and to create your opportunities going forward. Questions on those, the what's and the how's you're going to do those. So meaningful introductions, provide insight to who you are, what you do, what your needs are, what you're looking for, and then give before you get. How can I help you? What are you looking for? Are there any needs you have? And if nothing else, say, how can I help you? But listen to what they're saying. It might not always be sales. It might be they're challenged because they need new processes, or they're looking for someone they're hiring in their organization because they're short of help. It might be they're looking for a speaker, or they're looking for somebody to do something with their group. I forget what your group was that you helped out, but does that make sense? Okay, so in your packets, you have an action plan. Think about who do you want to meet? It could be in this group, it could be anywhere. Think about what you're trying to accomplish when you're going out networking. Who do you want to meet? What kind of meaningful introduction you're going to do of yourself when you meet them? And then how are you going to offer to help that person? I've had people that are frontline level, people in a professional environment that want to meet VPs or heads of companies that still need to offer to help. That's okay. They may not be able to do a job for them, but they can say, how can I help you? Is there anything I can do for you? Can I do some research for you? Is there any sort of administrative help that I can help you do? And just offering to help, but also thinking about what it is you might be able to help with, right? Just anything that you can think of to offer to help. And if nothing else, just offer to help if you can't offer anything specific. And then ask for your need. Think about what it is you're looking for and be able to articulate that because they can't read your mind. And then put your action plan. When you get done, what are your next steps? For yourself to help them, I'm going to look for this article for them. I'm going to introduce them to, I'm going to do this, as well as for your help. Hey, I'm going to let them know specifically what this is I needed, or whatever you're going to do for yourself. So I am going to give you about 5 minutes at your table. Just partner up with somebody, and you're going to meet that person at the table to role play as if it was that person that you want to meet. Because it's hard. It's hard to ask for what you're looking for, and it's hard to get used to articulating to help them. It's a safe environment in here to do so, and you can take a mulligan and start over if you trip all over your words. Any questions before you start? Okay, partner up. I'll give you 5 minutes, and then we'll come back and see what questions you have and how it went. The reflection here is just for you personally to say, what am I going to do to ensure I take action? You're spending your time here, which is really, really valuable. And if you don't do something with the information that you use that you found helpful, if you just say great and walk out of here and do nothing with it, then it's not going to add any value to you after you leave today. So that's just for you to say, what am I going to do with it when I leave here? How am I going to do something to apply it? So it's your own reflection in taking action and saying, what am I going to do with it when I leave? So build. Same process. You're pros at it now. So what? How do I build the relationships? I need to have a timely response. So I'm going to talk about that because that can be really hard. I need to keep in touch at the right level. I need to remember the goals. What were their goals? What did they need help with? And what were mine? And how do I get that? And what kind of resources did I find in the people that were there or other things, whether it's the people, whether it's a webinar I went to. It's not always just people when I'm networking that I find resources in. I need to provide resources to others and connect to others. Again, perfect example in how I ended up here today is connecting to others. How do I do that? How do we do that to others? Delivering on promises is really important, and it can be really hard, but what I would say is set expectations as needed. So I will tell you a couple of aspects on that using myself as examples. Deliver on your promises, but set those expectations. If I'm at something and someone needs something, I said, you bet, I'll send that to you. I try to set really clear expectations because everybody operates differently. If I'm doing something and leaving here and going somewhere else, and I know I'm not even going to get to my computer until tomorrow, I say, it will be at least tomorrow night before I can get that to you. And I try to under-promise and over-deliver, right? That gives me a little bit of wiggle room, and if I over-deliver, great and fantastic. I try not to say, yeah, I'll have that to you tonight, and then it might not be till tomorrow. I personally also try to clarify that tomorrow does not mean by 5 p.m. in my world, right? That doesn't even mean midnight in my world. So I try to be really clear when I set expectations on what that means so they're not expecting one thing and I deliver something different so that they know what to expect and they are not dissatisfied when I don't deliver if I don't do that on time. Use appropriate tools. We could do a whole session much longer than over lunch on tools. There are lots of them out there. They are all tools. They're great tools. And by that I mean you have your calendaring, you have your phone calendars, you have sticky notes, you have your Franklin planner some people use, you have everything. There's tools to make sure that you're using them to follow up, make sure that you're putting reminders on your calendars. There's lots of different tools to use. They're all tools, they're all great tools if they work for you. So use your tools to remember to follow up. I do that in a way, I said I have a horrible short-term memory, right? So if I know I met someone that has an interest in something, or I really want to maybe make that connection, but I don't know of some way to help them today, but they mentioned they have a need of XYZ, I will oftentimes put it on my calendar a week or a month from now, just as a tickler to myself. Hey, see if I can think of anything, or if anything pops up. And sometimes it pops up before then in my head, and I do send it to them, or I see an article, or I see a resource. Great, I've already done it, I can already check it off my calendar. Otherwise, I put it out there to myself as a reminder to follow up, to send them a note, to look for something that might be helpful to them. Otherwise, a week, a month, a quarter goes by, and I will totally forget it because short-term recall doesn't work well for me if I haven't done something to help myself remember it. Make sure it's mutually beneficial in building the relationship. Again, all one way, whether it's the coffee or the lunches or the emails, is not going to last, and it's not going to be a good relationship for either party if it's all give or all take. And grow your networks. Introduce people to other people. It's not a one-for-one. It's not, I will introduce you to someone and you will refer back to me. It doesn't often work that way. Over time, it is a pay-it-forward world, and I will guarantee you if you pay it forward, it will come back in groves. Not necessarily always from the person that you paid it forward, but it will come back to you. And that person will remember, and they'll tell someone else, or that person that you paid it forward to pays it to someone else who says, oh yeah, and Tricia did this, oh yeah, and they did this, and it will come back to you if you do the right thing. So grow your networks, reach out to other people. It does come back around to you. It is a small world. It's a small community in Omaha and Lincoln, and it's a small world across the U.S. Again, I can't tell you how many people think I know everybody, and I don't. But you get into the training world, for instance, and it's like, if it's training, they think I know everybody in the U.S. that does training because I will do whatever I can to help them. So I know a lot of the trainers. So you want to grow your networks because it will pay off in the long run. Any questions on those? Again, there's no right or wrong. Use the tools that work for you, but make sure you think about what you're going to do and deliver. And if you tell somebody what you're going to do, deliver on those promises however you need to manage appropriately from your end. But think about how you can build those networks. And keeping in touch doesn't matter if it's tomorrow, next week, next month. It's whatever appropriate for what you just did, conversation you just had. Hey, yeah, I'll send you that. Hey, I think I have something. I'm working on another regional conference for training in Omaha in March because I helped with one 5 years ago, however long it was. I still have all the files from the one 5 years ago, so that's how come I'm helping with the other one. It's like, oh yeah, I can look at what we did. Let me pull that, but it'll probably be next week before I send it to you. I'll send you whatever we had. You can decide whether you like it or you can tear it apart and do with it whatever you want. I can tell you for that conference, I set really clear expectations. I'd love to help. I'd love to tell you what I remember from the last one. I'd love to share whatever resources we did. I can tell you I have very little time to do physical activities to be on the committee. As long as you're good with that, I'd love to be a resource from a knowledge standpoint and advisory standpoint. I don't have a lot of time to commit, so I was very clear on that. I send them whatever we did from the last one and recall whatever I can from it. So, any questions on the bill? Because guess what? You have another action plan. All right, I'm going to shorten your time a little bit. I'm going to give you 3 minutes. I just want you to practice a couple of these. Think about what you might be promising. Think about how you're going to schedule the touch points and put it on your own calendaring, whatever that means to you. And make at least one introduction. Think about how you can. And you might just make it up in here. I'm not saying you have to make an introduction. But I want you to think about what kind of introduction could I be making? Because I always want you to think about that. I'm going to give you 3 minutes, and then we're going to pull it back in. It's really tough to articulate your needs. Thinking about what they are and thinking about them before you go into a networking opportunity is tough. I mean, we go to networking opportunities, and I find that difficult because I want to help others. So I'm always trying to help everyone else, but I have to stop and think, what am I going to this event for, and what am I going to get out of it? And that's hard for me because I put others first, because I want to help others. But we need to value our own time and know what we want to get out of it and know how to articulate what our needs are. That's tough. It takes a lot of practice to do that and do that well. Thank you. Anyone else? That's why I do safe environment to practice that, because it's hard. I still today find myself, the more fast and furious I run, the more I have to stop and pause and step back to do that. The more networking events I find myself in, the more I have to just pause and say, am I going to the right ones for the right reasons, both to give and to get, right? And again, it's not a one-for-one, but I could easily fill 40 plus hours a week at just true networking events. And there's value in them, but you got to pick the right ones for the right reasons that you can both give and get and still do your job or make a living or do whatever you do for your day job, so to speak. Any other thoughts? Okay, again, the reflection, it's just what action are you going to take? If you take no action, then you don't get any value at the end other than having a great lunch with some fun colleagues. So retain. This one you are not going to actually apply in here because this is more down the road, but I want to go over it so that we have a chance if you have any questions. And then certainly, like I said, I'm more than happy to answer questions down the road once you start applying this. So the retain. Keep in touch. The one most common question I used to get, especially when I first really started launching this and doing a lot of these, was, how often? Is it once a week? Is it once a month? How do I do it? Do I email? Do we do coffee? Do we do lunch? It does not matter, and it's not the same for everyone. It's whatever fits for the situation. It might be coffee once a week. It might be lunch once a month. It might be an email follow-up once a week. You need to figure out what is appropriate for the situation and what you've met with the person. And it may vary over time, like I said with the example with my colleague and friend Michael. Again, we were great friends, and now it's more than anything, we might not even have a business need, but it's chips and cheese at Romeo's is our favorite thing to get together with friends, and we talk business and friend stuff. And then there'll be something ramped back up with the professional society we're in, and then it's more business talk again. So give before you get. That, again, for me personally and professionally is the number one. Always look at how you can help others because it will come back to you in a very positive way if you pay it forward and give before you get. But don't forget, you need to know what you need, and you need to know how to articulate that because others don't know what you need if you don't know what you need. Celebrate accomplishments, right? again, when somebody's looking for a job, it's great to celebrate when they got that job, or when somebody has a great win with whatever they're doing, or found a resource, or got a referral, whatever the case may be. Celebrate those accomplishments. Life's short. It's great to celebrate those. And ask for the help when you need it. Don't be afraid to reach out to your contacts or networks, whether you're posting it on LinkedIn or posting it on Facebook or giving someone a call or direct email. Hey, I need help. Hey, do you know anyone? Hey, do you have a resource for this? Ask for the help. Hey, do you know anyone that knows anyone that has a, 6 degrees of separation? Somebody knows somebody out there that has what you need or knows somebody that has it, right? And continue to grow your relationships, because if they don't know somebody, you need to grow your network a little bit deeper because somebody out there has it. And how do you do that? Again, schedule them if needed, that keeps in touch, however often it's needed. There is no magical number. It's not once a week, month, etc. Always keep in mind the other person's needs. Again, however you want to do that. If I met someone that I think I want to build a relationship with, I jot myself a note, usually on my calendar, because that's how it feeds itself back up to me best. Share successes. There's some great tools out there too. There's lots of tools. I just read about one the other day, total side note. It's an email tool that when you email them, you blind copy yourself, like 3 days, 3 weeks, whatever, and it emails back to you in that amount of time and pops back up in your email. So you can email yourself 3 days, 3 tools, and 3 weeks in the blind copy, and whatever you email that amount of time, it pops back up in your email. I thought that was the coolest thing ever, because I read my emails. Share successes, look to your network, identify specific actions. So again, this is a retain. After you've met someone, you've started building the relationship, this is retaining it over time. Don't have to retain it for weeks, months, or years. It's whatever makes sense. Questions on that? We're not going to do the action plan, but here's things for you to think about as you build relationships going forward or as you retain the ones that you already have in place. And think about actions that you can take on your relationships that you have and those that you're starting to build. Last couple again. So MBR, also tools. Meet, build, retain. It's just parts of the process. It's not 20 steps you have to follow. In closing, this is just everything we talked about. It's networking. It's meeting the people when you do go to sessions and not just collecting the cards. It's growing the relationships as you go, making sure you think about what their goals are, what your goals are. It's the value of what those goals are, right? Value is not just money, it's growth, it's time, it's building things. And we're all busy, so what's in it for us, right? What's the value? What's in it for you? What's in it for them? Why do it? And make sure you're getting value out of it when you do it, because you could be doing it for 40 hours plus a week. And then just making sure that you take action to make it valuable for yourself. Any questions? I'm happy to connect with you. That is my email. If you do have questions later on, feel free to ping them to me via email. I am happy to connect via social media. You will find on social media, it's all just under my name. I'm with Client Psyence, but you'll also find things under Meeting Tree Solutions, which is my other company. I have 2 companies. So if you look me up on social media, most of it you'll find under Meeting Tree Solutions, which is a different company name, but everything is under my name, so you'll find me pretty easily. Anything else I can answer for you today? Thank you so much for your engagement and involvement today. I appreciate you having me here today.